Please like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my latest video has come. And to learn more and to find a video relevant to you, please do check out my videos list.
Hello, namaskar and adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. Today we'll talk about an important area of Gemini astrology which Parashar has also talked about a lot, and this is concerning the Atmakaraka. And as we know that the Karakas are very important as part of Gemini astrology, and hence the Atmakaraka is the planet with the highest degrees in the horoscope. Then you have the Amatyakaraka, then you have the Darakaraka, Putrakaraka and all that. Darakaraka is supposed to be the spouse of your better half who has the lowest degrees in your horoscope. And the Atmakaraka is supposed to be the planet with the highest degrees in the horoscope. The Amatyakaraka is supposed to be the second highest, and so on. So the Karakas are very, very important. Now certain Karakas are the fixed Karakas, like Moon is the Karaka of mother, Sun is the Karaka of father, and so on. But the moving Karakas, or those Karakas which can change, are the Atmakaraka, the Amatyakaraka, the Darakaraka, which are based on the degrees rather than planets which are fixed Karakas. And this has a very important bearing on not just your life but also the society around you. And hence understanding the placement of the Atmakaraka in your horoscope and how it manifests is very, very important. So firstly, what is the Atmakaraka? Atmakaraka is a planet which represents the soul's journey in your life. So the planet which has the highest degrees in your horoscope is also like the king, and to an extent represents or has a connection with the sun, which also represents the soul. And since the soul's journey is also about what is your dharma for the life rather than your karma. So the dharma, the duty, the responsibility is where the Atmakaraka is positioned or manifests itself the strongest. Now, wherever the Atmakaraka is placed in your horoscope, it is about the dharma, but it has a larger perspective to it rather than dharma means only duty. Here the dharma is not only at a worldly level but at a soul level. And the soul's journey is about serving humanity. But in serving the humanity, it also is a lot about self. It is about cleansing of self, it is about correcting of self, it is about self-sanitization. Because the Atmakaraka or the Atma is carrying the burdens of the karmic debt of earlier times, and hence it's very, very important that when a life is given to you, you also do a lot of cleansing of the karmic debts that you are carrying. And hence the soul's journey is not only about manifesting the soul's journey in the life, but also a lot of sanitization, correction in carrying the burden that you are and shedding the karmic debt, so that the soul can then become lightened from the karmic debt, from the karmic baggage, and then can rise spiritually. And so it's very, very important. The placement of the Atmakaraka in your horoscope is very, very manifesting of that particular role that the soul has to play in the life. So in a nutshell, if I have to describe what the Atmakaraka is, we know that Rahu is the karma for this life that you need to do, whereas Ketu is where you have already done and you have already visited those areas and you have already achieved, and you have put the dhwaja, the flag, you have hoisted the flag. That means you have conquered that area. So in this life, wherever Ketu is placed, it is about giving up, negation of those areas. It is not for yourself, it is for others. So Rahu is the karma or the dharma for this life, which you have to do, where you need to work, where you need to showcase, where your energy should be, where your focus should be. Whereas Ketu is where you need to do for others rather than for self. Now the Atmakaraka is actually, in a sense, carrying both the Rahu and the Ketu energies. And what does that mean? It means that wherever your Atmakaraka is placed, that area of life is where not only should your focus be, that will also be where your dharma is, where your responsibilities, where your accountabilities, where you need to do self-sanitization, where you need to do self-correction, where you need to lighten the burden of the soul, but also where you need to do for others, where you need to leave a legacy behind. So through your dharma, what you do For others, you also leave a legacy behind for others to follow in your footsteps. So wherever your Atmakaraka is, you need to be at the highest levels of your dharma, the highest levels of service for others, and your highest levels of where you leave a legacy behind. That's what your Atmakaraka means. It's a place where you can be able to do the maximum, to be able to do for society, and how the society will learn from you, how will the society remember you in that area of your life, and then will be able to follow in your footsteps, will be able to follow in your examples, not just for society but also for your family and anybody and everybody who knows you, how you have impacted other people's lives also in the area where Atmakaraka is placed in your horoscope, and hence the Atmakaraka's placement is very, very important. So let's jump into what the Atmakaraka's placement in the different houses in the horoscope will represent. Firstly, if the Atmakaraka or the planet with the highest degrees in the horoscope is in the Lagna itself, this is a very, very karmic placement. It is a dharma based placement. It means that wherever you have your attention of the Atmakaraka, there you need to do self-sanitization, you need to correction, you need to do selfless service, and you need to leave a legacy behind. Now, because this is the Lagna, it is about overall life, overall manifestation in almost every area of your life, because that's what the Lagna means. That means your whole life you have to lead a life of ethical standards, moral standards, doing for others, selfless service, and trying to elevate your character, your personality, so that when people remember you as a good person overall. So when people give you example, they should give you an example as a person who's done well in almost all areas of life. In your family life, what kind of a friend you have been, what kind of a worker you have been, what kind of a father you have been, what kind of a neighbor you have been, what kind of a citizen you have been, and you should be seen as a model for others, and you should be able to shed your karmic debt in all the areas of your life, which means how you deal with your neighbor, how you deal with your friends, how you deal with your family. For everybody, you have to do selfless service. You need to be a better assistance to them, rather take assistance from them, and hence in the Lagna means your whole life should be following truth, being honest, being somebody who has good character, a person with integrity, a person with dignity, and a person who is always trying to elevate his stature, his prestige, his honor in society, not by demanding that people should respect you, but you should be able to command people's respect because of the person you have been, and hence how you think, because Lagna is also your thinking. So your thinking should always be, how can I be a better person? How can I be of better service to others? How can I be a better relative, a better father, better friend? And how can I serve the society better? And which area can I do the best in? What expertise has the zodiac given me, and where are my strongest planets? And using that energy, you should be able to move forward. It's a very, very spiritual energy. It's a strong energy. If you are able to use the energy of the Atmakaraka, combining it with the other assets, the strengths that have been given to you in the combination, then you can do very, very well. And so Atmakaraka in the Lagna is one of the first, in the first house is one of the most important placement, and a very, very karmic placement, a very, very spiritual placement. The Atmakaraka in the second house is about the dependence, because the second house is also about the dependent, those people who first you became a dependent on, and later who became a dependent on you. This is about the family that you're born in, the tribe that you're born in. It is about the community. It is also about how you get your own earning, how you get your livelihood, how you save money. It is also about the language that you use. It is also about your values and principles, which means that if the Atmakaraka is there, the planet with the highest degrees is there, which means your whole life, the legacy that you leave behind should be what kind of a person you have been in when you try to earn a living. How have you earned your livelihood? How have you dealt with others who are dependent on you? Firstly, the family in which you are born, how well did you take care of them? Because here the responsibility is not only about the self or the immediate family or dependents. Even your community, your extended community, the tribe that you're born in, they also are one of the people who you have a responsibility for. And so there should be a lot of cleansing or shedding the karmic baggage in how you deal with others, how you help the community, and with dignity and with principles and values. So you should be the one who takes forward the tribes, the community's principles and values, the way of life, and you should be somebody who represents a model person concerning your community. Then how you earn your livelihood should be with ethical standards, with moral standards, rather than resorting to unfair means just to increase your livelihood or to get a higher livelihood rather than what you are getting by ethical means. So it's a placement where you use your communication, especially your language, in a manner that people remember you as somebody who's truthful, who's a person who has strong values, self-dignity, and the community remembers you. So doing something when you leave the world that the community remembers you, that this person has been an ideal person, and the other people in the community also remember you as somebody who they can walk in the footsteps. A strong legacy to be left behind in how you earn, how you make your living, what example you leave for others, and how you help at least other people and how they can earn their living again with ethical means, with moral standards. So it's not only about how you earn your livelihood, how you get your earning, but also helping others earn their living and how they can also do it with ethical moral standards, and leaving behind something for others as part of your livelihood, as part of your earning. So giving something in charity or having some money which you have saved as for the community, as for the extended neighborhood and society. That is the placement of Atmakaraka in the second house. The Atmakaraka in the third house is a very, very interesting placement. One, because the third house is the house of effort. It is the house where you need to show self-enterprise. It is where you make your own destiny also, because a lot of free will is given to you through the third house. So when the Atmakaraka is placed in the third house, it means a lot of freedom is given to you to do a lot of self-sanitization, a lot of self-correction. And the zodiac says, okay, here I have given you a more open field, a more level playing field. I will be supporting you when you shed your karmic debt, when you serve others, and I will be supporting you. So what is the third house? The house of branding, communication, how you reach out to others, how you represent yourself. So how will you be remembered by people around you? How will you represent yourself? And then through your means, through your legacy, people will also remember how they should, what kind of a legacy they should leave behind, as how they will be remembered. So in how you communicate, whether you communicate with authority or you're a soft person, you're a nice person, you lend people a ear, you listen more and you talk less, then you do a lot of effort in trying to help others. Because the third house is the house of effort, then how much of an effort, how much of a hard worker you are, and through the hard work, how you have been able to achieve. So an achiever with hard work and who uses his branding, his marketing, his communication to leave behind somebody who used ethical means to work hard and then gain. So if you are not able to do that, then you are not being able to do justice to the Atmakaraka in the third house. This also has a responsibility to the immediate neighborhood. Immediate neighborhood doesn't just mean the house next door, but in your vicinity, in your area, in your locality, you should be the one who also looks out for others, also helps others, become the shining beacon, shining light for others. And so within short journeys, because the third house is also the short journeys, so within short area around your house, how much of a help you are. So if there are problems around people, if there is a snowfall and people are locked in, you need to reach out and ask people, does anybody need help? Can I be of help to somebody? If somebody is out of job, how you can help them do their own thing and stand up on their own feet, because the third house is also the house of self-enterprise. And then through making the short journeys, through the short distances that you cover, not only in terms of traveling, but also in terms of your mannerism, how you reach out to others rather than asking people to reach out. And hence you taking that short steps towards others, to help others and to leave a legacy behind of a hard-working individual, an achiever, somebody who had big, huge willpower, and surely based on willpower and on hard work achieved, but through ethical means, a good communicator and somebody who people will remember by as somebody who was able to stand up on his feet and helped a lot of others as part of his karmic journey. And that is what the Atmakaraka in the third house means. Atmakaraka in the fourth house is more about the domestic life. But here it's also about the mother, because the fourth house represents mother. So Atmakaraka in the fourth house also means there is a strong karmic debt which you need to pay to mother, or you have to serve the mother. And you have to serve the domestic house. This is the house that you have created, especially after your marriage, where you have settled down with your spouse, you have your children, You may or may not have your mother staying with you. In some societies, parents do stay with their children even after the children get married, and there may be other dependents also. So the whole household should be something that you take care of. So the household is actually preserved by you, helped by you, and they look up to you as a person who is the leader of the house and a good leader of the house, where you take responsibilities of the household, you take accountability, and you are a bigger help in the house. So helping the mother wherever she needs help, serving her, taking care of her, helping the spouse, whether in the kitchen, whether to raise the children, and in other areas of life. Plus, what kind of a legacy that you leave behind in terms of helping others in they being able to lead their lives in a better manner at the domestic front. So somebody, how can you be remembered as a family man? Do people remember you as a good relative, as a good cousin, as a good spouse, as a good father? So when people when they look up to you, do they look up to you as an ideal person, as a family person? Also, how you have made your assets, because the fourth house is also the house of assets. So did you cheat? Did you fudge data to earn more so that you can build the bigger house, you can buy the bigger car, that you can have the material conveniences, and you enjoy the riches? You want the extra plot of land, you want to have many houses, you want to have a house in your own area, in your own locality, and you want a house maybe in Italy, in the US, in Switzerland, who knows where. You want to have that big luxurious yacht, you want to have your own private plane. The needs can be, earth shattering, and they can be limitless. So in trying to get your assets, have you been somebody who has not cheated, who have led your life with dignity, who have not used unfair means to collect your assets, who have not pushed beyond your means just to get assets and to get money? And what kind of a legacy you have left behind when you are no more? Will people remember you as a person who collected your assets with dignity, with pride, but with ethical moral standards, and as a family person? Will your mother remember you as somebody who truly served her? Will she be blessing you? And even if your mother goes before you, what will she remember you on the last moments? Will you be around her? Will she feel that she has given birth to a child who has truly been an honorable child, person who has really been a good family person also? So the fourth house is about family, it's about people, your domestic life, and about assets and how you have done. And how many people have you helped in their establishing their own homes, in their establishing their own households? So the fourth house, Atmakaraka, is a big responsibility toward the family, toward the mother, and towards how you collect your assets and what kind of examples you leave behind. The Atmakaraka in the fifth house is a very tricky placement, because here you are combining your children and your speculative investments and how you manifest yourself in the public. So firstly, what kind of a children do you raise? How do you bring up your children? How do you groom them to become a better citizen? Because that becomes your legacy, because you are leaving your children behind. So what kind of citizens will your children become? How are you going to groom them as a parent, as a leader? And fifth house is also about speculative investments, speculative gains. So here gambling is involved, taking a chance is involved, taking risks are involved. So will you be pushing the buttons? Will you be taking higher risks so you make a quick buck? Will you be investing or taking a lot of risk, even at the cost of your family, even at the cost of family security, to put more money in the share market, to put more money in the stocks? Will you be taking big risks, or will you take calculated risks where you also know how much to spread your risks and where to put your money in, where to try to make money, and how you will be able to make money over the long run rather than to make a short run with a quick run? So how do you make your investments and how much you gamble with your life? Because what is the fifth house? The fifth house is also 8th to the 10th house. So in your career, you may face obstacles, you may face challenges, and you may also face upheavals. There may be opportunities also. So in trying to preserve your job, will you lie? Will you cheat? Will you be doing something whereby you feel that you should get a better gain, better growth over others? In a better company, will you fudge data? Will you fudge your CV, your curriculum vitae, or your resume? And whether you will try to misquote, whether you will try to lie, and fudge data just to get into a different area or a different company or a better company, or to preserve your job. And how you will be a performer in front of others. How will people see you? If you are a person in arts, if you are a person who are a singer or a musician, how much hard work have you done? How much of a dedication have you put in? And what kind of a legacy are you leaving behind? Whether or not you get a huge name or not, but were you dedicated? Were you disciplined? And have you left your legacy behind in passing on what you have learned to others? How much of a legacy you have done to the people who are concerned, you are connected to you about the fifth house, whether it's your children, whether it is the job that you do, your job or career that you do, and performers, as a performer, as a presenter. When you're presenting data to people in your corporate life, to others, to your clients, maybe to vendors, will you cheat? Will you fudge data? Will you lie? So the fifth house is the legacy about performances, about risk taking, about gambling, about children, and then how you will be remembered as a person in these areas after you are no more. The Atmakaraka in the sixth house is a placement about those people who will be competing with you on a day-to-day basis. Those people who will try to pull you down and move ahead. And so this is the house of competition and of service. So in trying to compete with others, in trying to get a march over your colleagues so that you get the promotion, how much are you going to work behind the back? Will you backstab somebody just because you want to grow? How much will you be able to serve in your career rather than use unfair means to get ahead? So getting ahead in your career with service, with dedication, with commitment, and without trying to cheat over others or fudge data and then to get ahead over others and badmouth people behind their back. So the sixth house is about how you are trying to override competition through unfair means also. This is also a house where you may also be cheated. So if there is a chance that colleagues are not helpful with you, colleagues are competing with you, and they are found wanting, how do you react? Will you also give tit for tat, or you will become somebody who is a person who will leave behind an example of that? Okay, even when you were shortchanged, you were ethical, you were moral in your conduct, you didn't try to put somebody down, and you were somebody who helped others. And whenever you competed with fairness, with dignity and with character. And when you serve, you also serve with dignity and character. You did selfless service, not just because you wanted to move ahead in your career or in your job or for the promotion. You always looked at how much can I give back to society as somebody who can serve others. And how much do you take care of, and how do you take care of people who work for you and under you? How will they remember you when you are no more? What kind of a legacy will you leave behind through the Atmakaraka in the sixth house? Will they remember you as a good person? If your driver will remember you as somebody who was also kind to him, would the maid who comes to help you in the household, will she remember you or he remember you as somebody who was kind to them, took good care of them, supported them in their bad times? And in general society, did you take up a cause for anyone, whether for animals or for nature or for environments, but to become a healer? Because the sixth house is also about healing. What is your legacy you're leaving behind, at least in one area of your life, as a healer, as a supporter, as a server? And how will the people who are working below you and under you and your team members remember you? So it's an important house. It's also Bhrigu Bhav. So it's a very, very important placement if Atmakaraka is placed in your sixth house. The Atmakaraka in the seventh house is about everybody else who you're connected to on a day-to-day basis, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your partner, whether it's your team member, whether it's the person who may be doing your laundry, anybody and everybody with whom your life is connected on a day-to-day basis, they represent the seventh house. Of course, a major share is also about the spouse. So whoever is partnering with you, starting with the spouse, becomes very, very important. So what kind of a legacy you leave behind for these people when you are no more, or if they remember you? Today, if you are not in front of your spouse and somebody asks your spouse, a friend of her or him asks your spouse what kind of a spouse you are, how will they respond about you? How will they talk about you? And what kind of a legacy will you leave behind in partnership, in dealing with others? If you are in the business, how much of a support you have been, how much you have contributed more and to take less, how much of an ethical behavior you have done. When you are doing contracts with others, when you are signing contracts for others, when you are dealing with others, So in dealings, are you somebody who's fair? In dealings, are you somebody who is not resorting to unfair means? And what kind of a cleansing you're doing in relationships, because the 7th house also represents the Libra energy. In relationships, how much of a balance you are doing, and are you ready to give more rather than to ask, because the 7th house is more about doing for others when your Atmakaraka is there, rather than to ask. And when you do that, you also get a response. So when people, whoever is connected to you on a day-to-day basis, the receptionist at work, the security guard in your building, your spouse, your partner, whoever is connected to you on a day-to-day basis, how do they remember you? Do they remember you as a person who was kind, always smiling, always helpful, or somebody who was very, very vociferous, very vitriolic, always tried to put them down? And how much are you helpful to others? So whoever you are connected on a day-to-day basis, do you try to help them? Do you offer them help if you find them that they are in a spot of bother? If you see that somebody is in a spot of bother, do you take the other road, or you put a step forward and volunteer and ask, is everything okay? Can I help you? And that is the legacy of the Atmakaraka in the 7th house. A big responsibility given for almost everybody who's connected to your life on a day-to-day basis, but a very, very karmic responsibility. The Atmakaraka in the 8th house is a placement where you try to help others, where you become somebody who helps others, those people who face tribulation in their life, who face strife in their life. Wherever Atmakaraka is placed in the horoscope, that is the place where you may get your biggest hits, but you may also get your biggest misses. You also get your biggest opportunities there, but also you get the biggest obstacles there. And that is the same thing about the 8th house. The 8th house is about suddenness. You get the biggest opportunities also suddenly, but you face the biggest obstacles also suddenly. So how you carry yourself when you face those challenges? When a good opportunity comes to you, how much are you keeping your eye open to take that opportunity, but with ethical means? If you face challenges, tribulations, obstacles in your life, what do? Do you use ethical means, moral means to be able to handle it, tackle it with patience, with perseverance, or you try to ride roughshod over others just because you are facing a challenge? So how do people remember you as a person when you face challenges? So will they remember you that this person, when he was facing problems in his life, he cheated others, he guzzled money from others, or this person was honest, he never let his integrity down? And when others faced a problem and they approached you, did you help them? 7th house is about you taking the ownership, but the 8th house is about you being able to see sudden challenges in people's life, and if they approach you, how much of a help they are, and how you handle and how you tackle those challenges yourself. So how you are able to handle obstacles, challenges in your life, and how much you are able to help others. Secondly, it's also about very, very secretive things, the 8th house. It's also about the length of life. So in the length of life, how much of a life have you led with honesty? Have you led the greatest length of life with honesty or integrity, or there have been patches or phases in your life when you have been somebody who has been cheating, who has used unfair means, and there have been phases in your life which you will like to forget and put it in the box? You need to do a lot of sanitization of the house where Atmakaraka is placed, a lot of cleansing, and there is nothing better house to cleanse your karmic debt rather than the 8th house. The more you help others, the more you help other people who are in a spot of bother, those people who may be sick, those people who may not be able to pay the fees of their children, or who are facing challenges because they are met with an accident, their house is burned down, bank is chasing them because they don't have money to pay back their loans. Whatever challenges they are in, how much you are able to help, how much you are able to also pay off your taxes without cheating, honestly, or you're fudging data to be able to save money, and how much of a help you are to others, especially connected to even in-laws, because that is the 8th house. Also the 8th house is about other people's money. So when other people's money is given to you in custody, in your care, in your security, what do you do with them? You may be working in some organizations where you are responsible for other people's care, other people's money, other people's welfare, other people's life. Then what you do and how you have handled those responsibilities. How you have you handled those responsibilities with a lot of commitment, loyalty, and supporting, rather than being somebody who use that opportunity to be able to just further your or interest. So the 8th house could be a turbulence filled houses. The Atmakaraka will every now and then put you into those challenges where how much of a soul's elevation you are able to do will be seen through those challenges, through those issues. And this is also a moksha bhava. If you are able to handle this better, because your Atmakaraka is placed there, it's a very strong chance of a very strong spiritual elevation if you will be able to pass the test of the 8th house. The Atmakaraka in the 9th house is where the Atmakaraka is getting connected to the prarabdha karma, the karma of this life, this phase. And this is about how much of a higher learning you get from your gurus, from your father, and then use that to be able to carry a life which is a life of dignity, which is a life of ethics, morals, and using the learning to be able to elevate your soul spiritually, because it is also the house of religion or theology. So is your character, is your mannerism, is your religion humanity or not? Are you spiritual about your existence in this world, or you're too religious, following dogma rather than seeing the spiritual side? How much you are able to elevate yourself spiritually towards how you deal with people across cultures, across religions? How much of a respect you are able to give to other people's learning, other people's knowledge, other people's values, other people's thought processes, other people's faith, other people's belief, and then your gurus. Are you somebody who your gurus can look back and smile when they hear your name and say, this has been somebody who's been a great student of mine, this is an example of an ideal student for me? Will your father remember you as somebody who's taken his learning forward? And when life threw challenges at you and life gave you an opportunity to learn high through the wisdom, through the experiences, and grow spiritually, have you been able to do? Have you been able to deal fairly with people from different cultures, which the 9th house also represents? And in your travel, have you helped others? So whenever you are doing long distance or short distance travel, you meet fellow travelers. How much have you tried to be somebody that you get the best ticket, you get the best seat, you get the best comfort, or you share your comforts with others? You also take care of your fellow travelers. And when you travel to other places, do you become an ideal representative of your area, your locality, your country, your community also? It's a very spiritual place, a very karmic place. A lot can be left behind as a teacher here also. This is the placement where you can become a guru. You can leave a legacy behind of your learning and what you tell people, or you lead your life, and then through your example you become a guru to others. How to live a life of morals, a life where others, a lot of people maybe across cultures can also look up to you, remember you as somebody whose faith and belief was strong, staunch, not just in religion or dogma, but in humanity. And that is the placement of the Atmakaraka in the 9th house. The Atmakaraka in the 10th house is a placement where the karma is also of the essence here. Normally the Amatya Karaka gets connected to your career, but here the Atmakaraka being placed in the 10th house connects you that whatever career you choose, whatever workspace you choose, that workspace should be something that you get connected to even your soul's elevation. That means when you are working in that area, you are working to do something for others rather than just to earn a livelihood. So when you choose your career, you need to be more selective, and you should be able to believe in what the company does, what the organization does. Your career should not be something which just provides you a livelihood, but also provides you a spiritual path on which you are walking, because you believe in what the organization is doing, you believe in the products, you believe in the services that you are offering, and you truly feel that this service or these products truly help others. There is some connect, emotional connect, or a principle oriented connect to what the company is doing, to the services you are doing. If you feel your company is cheating, if you feel your company is not, doesn't have the right mission and vision, is not really helping others, is not really helpful to the customers, to the clients, then if you continue to stay in that company just because you are earning a livelihood, then you may not be leaving the best legacy behind, because your Atmakaraka is here. Here it does become tricky that should you just quit your job because your company is not doing good service or not being ethical with the customers. It is about making the right choices while you are there, and you not indulging if you are forced to work in that company, and waiting for an opportunity and getting out whenever you get a chance. Firstly, choosing an organization which is known for its ethics, which is known for its morals, at least has the best reputation in not cutting corners to helping others. So choose a career, choose a avenue, choose a path where you are also, your conscience is also happy, your spiritual elevation also happens because your conscience is happy that you are doing something right, you are on the right path, and at the end of the day you feel a sense of satisfaction, you have been able to achieve something. And when you go back home, you also have examples of how many customers you have helped, how many people you have helped, and how does your boss see you, how does your manager see you, how do your superiors see you. Do they see you as a person who is very dedicated, who is very loyal, or you try to get ahead of your bosses, you try to put them in bad light because you want to grow fast and grow over them. Are you somebody who is dedicated, loyal to the team, to the organization, to the department, and you stand up for them, you help them, and you always try to make your boss look better, but without cutting corners on ethics, not bad mouthing anybody, not cheating anybody, not fudging data, because you want to grow in the organization, and keeping good relations with the superiors, with the superior authorities, with the managers, to the people who are higher up. And through that you practice humility, you practice to be able to follow in the footsteps of others, to become a true person who will serve others, serving the organization, and through the organization serving the general society. The Atmakaraka place in the career place or in the 10th house is a very, very karmic placement. It is not only about your career, but any career that you do, any work that you do, any action that you do should be something which is ethical, which is moral, and helps and pleases your soul and the soul's elevation. The Atmakaraka in the 11th house is about general society at large. It is about the whole world. It is about, can you look at the world and see some area where you can do the maximum work? What appeals to you the most? And then taking up the cudgels and working in that area. It may or may not be connected to your career, but it is about taking time off and doing something for general society, for the world, in some area which you believe in, which you feel that the world needs help. It can be anything, to planting trees, to cleaning the sewers, or helping animals, helping the environment, teaching somebody, helping those people who are right down on the bottom of the society, doing something in research, in health area, you name it, and you can take it up. But your heart should appeal to it, and you should feel that there is an area, and then working hard, toiling hard to leave a legacy behind in your life in that area. So when people remember you, they remember your strong contribution, huge contribution. Even if you make a small contribution, people should see you as somebody who was very dedicated to that cause, even if you were not able to contribute much. So when people remember you long after you are gone, they remember you through the work that you have done, through either the trees that you have planted, or how many people you trained, or you taught, or you helped them to stand on their feet, how many people you helped when you were looking at helping in the general society in your neighborhood, maybe to clean up a pond in your vicinity, or to clean up the sewers, or maybe have more trees planted in your area, some area that you look up, you follow and you clean. Maybe what you have done for the flora and fauna in your neighborhood, and how you have helped set up groups, maybe some groups which are coming together and every week doing something for the flora and fauna of the neighborhood. How you may be doing something for the security of the neighborhood, where you have a your locality committee where you are doing something. But this is at a smaller level. I am talking about a much larger level that the heart appeals to you that you should do. So in a nutshell, you're always trying to do something for the society in a small way and a big way, not just a small way. And you are looking at giving something much bigger to society. Some of the biggest philanthropists of the world come from the 11th house after the 12th house. The 12th house nobody can beat in philanthropy, but the 11th house is the second one where you are being a philanthropist through both your actions and the causes that you support. So very karmic placement to help the general society, to help friends. How much of a good friend you have been, how much of a person you have stood by your friends, and how your friends will remember you, how the general society will remember you. When you go out to let your hair down and to have a good time, do you talk behind people's back? Do you cheat people? Do you use that time to get the grapevine from others so that then you can use against somebody else? Do you drink to your heart's fill and then maybe abuse others and do certain things which your conscience will not be happy later on? So it's about, in general way, to general society, how you come across as somebody who's led the life of commitment, how much of cleansing you're doing at a soul level, and what kind of its biggest legacy you're leaving behind to the world at large. And that is the Atmakaraka in the 11th house. The Atmakaraka in the 12th house is a very, very powerful placement of the Atmakaraka. This is a second only to the Lagna Lord being in the 12th house. And in fact, if the Lagna Lord and the 12th house get connected to the Atmakaraka in some way, through aspects or place with each other, or in conjunction or whatever, then it's a very, very powerful placement. It is a very, very strong placement where you are allowed to move on to the next real and in a good real, and to connect that through a spiritual means. How you raise your spirit, your soul being elevated high through how much you are given of. 12th house is the house of waste and excess, which means giving up for others and then moving on. So how much of a giving up environment or behavior that you have, whether for your family, whether for the neighborhood, whether for the community, whether for the world at large, whether for society. So in some area you need to give up everything connected to that area. So for example, if you're working for an NGO, or if you're working in an organization which helps the poor, then you don't look at hours, how long you work. You don't look at how much remuneration you get for this, from that organization or for that cause that you're doing. You give up completely towards that cause, and you leave a major portion of either your effort or your money as a legacy behind. So how will people remember you when you're gone? How much people will be helped spiritually from you? How much of you connecting yourself spiritually to the next real? And that is best done through serving. So because the 12th house is also the house of hospitals and clinics, doing a large amount of work towards people's health or helping those people who are hospitalized. So suddenly people are hospitalized and they are landing in those hospitals and they are not able to help themselves. How you can help them? People who are facing false cases and they're landing in jail, or those people who may have done small faults, but because they may be languishing in the jails because they are not able to pay their own bail. How you are helping those people? How you are helping reform them? How you are helping those people to get back on their feet who are not healthy? How much you are able to help them, those people who are not healthy in their mind or healthy in their actions? So what kind of a legacy you leave behind as somebody who has done charity, as a philanthropist, as a truly spiritual person, and whichever cause you get connected, you give maximum there rather than hold yourself back in any way. And burning the midnight oil also to be able to leave a legacy behind. This is a placement where you have one foot is in this world, in the next foot is in the nether world, and at a spiritual elevation. So if you have Atmakaraka in the 12th house, use it well. So friend, this is about Atmakaraka and the 12 houses in your horoscope. Please understand where your Atmakaraka is, how it is getting connected to the Lagna or the Lagna Lord. That will mean a lot to you. That will give a lot of signals to you where to truly work, how to work in that area, where to move in, and through that how to truly manifest the spiritual elevation which the Atmakaraka represents. So friends, please follow me on Instagram, and it is the same handle, which is Astro Assurance. And if you want to take a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me. The links given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend, astrologer and guide Irfan, signing off. Ciao.